Good morning, hope you're doing really well. I've got an amazing treat for you today. In fact, I say it's for you, but it's also for me. We're going to see some Hoffman kilns. Now, if you've watched my channel, that might sound familiar to you because we've actually been to one before in Surrey at Betchworth, but we never had an opportunity to sort of really explore it because of the condition, etc, etc. Now this one is properly abandoned, properly derelict, grade 2 listed. You'll know all that in the history lesson, but it's amazing where we are with this woodland and where the brickworks was. And you see, as I was walking down, you see all these amazing holes and pits and bits of concrete and stonework littered everywhere. So yeah, enjoy your history lesson, and I will of course see you on the other side. This is one not to miss. Stay with me, come on. Before I created this channel, I was lucky enough to explore many abandoned places that have long since disappeared for multiple reasons. So it's because of that I decided to start recording these places in hopes that they could be documented for future generations to learn and understand from. So that's why a place such as what we are about to explore really holds true to this channel. Known as the Oakworld Brickworks, it started life when two gentlemen named Harry Bostock and William Sudbury first leased the land from the first Baron of Belper in 1872 and formed the Oakworld Colliery Company to extract coal from the furnace seam. Then in 1874 the site would begin to make bricks, but prior to 1913 the works consisted of 4 down draft kilns with a drying shed, where they would also produce handmade bricks, with all the buildings you would expect on the site, such as a brickmaking shed, a boiler house, along with other buildings and offices. However, by 1913 a Hoffman Kiln had been built over the site of one of the earlier kilns. What made the Hoffman Kiln so special is that it would normally consist of a main fire passage surrounded on each side by several small rooms. Each room would contain a pallet of bricks. In the main fire passage there is a fire wagon that held a fire that would burn continuously. Each room would be fired for a specific time until the bricks were vitrified properly, and thereafter the fire wagon is rolled to the next room to be fired. In this short process it was very efficient, and more importantly gave you a high percentage of good bricks. In February 1942 the brickworks closed temporarily due to a combination of economic impact of the war and the risk of light coming from the kilns compromising the blackout. However, the works reopened in November 1945, producing approximately 3 million bricks annually. However, due to the combined effect of the inconsistent nature of the Oakworld clay measures and the lack of demand for bricks, the brickworks finally closed in mid-December 1966. And with that, the site slowly gave way to nature, and the kilns that we are visiting are very rare and thankfully have been given Grade 2 listed status. Hello, welcome back. So we start our journey on this obscure building that's on the opposite side. Now, just to put this in context, the Hoffman Kiln is there. You can see the dome, which is still prevalent. But here, we're at probably, it looks like another kiln, but obviously not related to that. You can see the arch. But I think we might be able to have a look inside. So let's try and see if we can. A bit sketchy. There we go. So, sorry for the wobble of the camera. Let's have a look. Yeah, look at that. Amazing little, looks like another kiln. Can't get any further in there, I don't think. Yeah. Yeah, sorry about that. Trying to do that with a torch in one hand and the camera in the other. Actually, there is a hole here. Let's see if we can light it up. Oh yeah, look at that. You can't see. Look at that, he says. There is a... There's definitely a kiln in there. That's not really what we've come to see. We've come to see the main event, so let's go and see it. Well, and there it is. What an incredible piece of history. I'm so looking forward to this. This one's been on my bucket list for a long time now, because obviously, as you've noticed on my channel, I love my kilns and I love my industrial history. And to actually see a Hoffman Kiln that you can actually explore on both levels is so exciting. But we'll talk more about it when we go in there, so come on. Right, so we are now at the base of the Hoffman Kiln, or like I said, you've got to imagine it being 2 levels. It was really easy to find this place, so I didn't really have any trouble actually locating it. Obviously there are lots of signs saying please be careful, danger, hazardous, etc, etc, so it is grade 2 listed, like I said, so I'm going to try and show as much respect as possible. I've got 2 torches with me. I haven't brought the torch that I wanted to bring with me. Well, not that I haven't, I've left it in the car because I kind of was thinking I've got a few places to do where I might need that a bit more. Or might need it more, sorry. But let's go and have a look. Oh yeah, this torch will be alright. So, what you can see is that the open circuit of the kiln itself has been sort of cut in half, or actually in theory where it's collapsed. Now, as we look round, what an incredible piece of history. I'm glad this torch is holding out. This is normally my go-to torch. I know some of you sort of like to know about my torch situation. It's the one that I've had for a long time. Does an amazing job, however. I have been using it for a bit at the moment, so it's probably going to fade out a little bit. But wow. I mean, this is just... What they've done is they've blocked off the entrances to these kilns, and what you've got to really understand is, now if I show you on this bit, you can see how well arched it is. The idea is that really, if you picture it, sort of mentioned it in a history lesson, treat it as if it was a conveyor belt. The idea was that obviously the bricks would be burnt, they'd be moved on, and they'd sort of go round in this sort of circular fashion. What an incredible piece of history. I mean, it really is. So you've got the flumes to pump the heat in, more importantly to let the heat out. My only question was how big this would be, but it's a size that I don't feel like that it surprised me. Sometimes you go to places and you sort of feel like you're a bit surprised by the size, and this one, I've got to say, it feels about right. The irony of this being a brickworks, and you've got all these bricks which make this up, it's just such an incredible piece of history. It really is such a unique opportunity to come to a place like this. Well worth the drive for me, being a Kent lad. Took me about 3 hours to get here, but I would not complain when you see incredible pieces of history like this. I'm actually surprised that, considering the amount of people that have explored this, the condition is actually relatively good, I'd say. Now, if some of you thinking that that's, if you think this is relatively good, trust me when I say it, it really is relatively good. And then here we come back out again. Wow. Does it really, I mean, I know I mentioned this sometimes before, but does it really get any better than this when we talk about industrial history? You know, really does it? Look at that. discoloration of the bricks. You can see these little vents there, these little ports there, now blocked up. Also want to make something really clear to everybody. Now, I am a huge, let me just turn you around. I'm a huge, you can't even see me. Wait, there we go. I'm a huge lover of nature and bats, and I've come here specifically before they start to hibernate. I'm not actually sure if the bats here do hibernate or not, but it's a perfect place for them. So please, if you do come here, just try and come here in a season when they're not hibernating, or just show much respect to nature here, because obviously they share its home just as much. Look at this. What I was surprised by was, if you look at this, I mean, this is such a rare thing. I mean, I really mean this, to actually look inside the kiln itself. You see the steel girders, the steel sheeting, it should be really, going over the top. I mean, and if so coming down here, I noticed that there's been some that had sort of fallen by the wayside, and I bet some of you don't even bother to look on the floor, but I always say you've got to try and look on the floor. Look at that. I know that probably in my lifetime I will visit more industrial buildings, but for me, something as special and unique as this. And like I said, the one in Surrey, you don't really get a chance to actually go into it. It is being used for bats, and that's why I bring that up, because the ones that are in Surrey are being used for bats. But obviously feel free to look back at that video. I think I labelled it Betchworth Quarry and Kilns, something like that. So if you want to have a look back at that, have a look back at that. Amazing site, or two sites actually, sorry. Right. I think the best thing to do is to head up, and let's take you up to the next floor. Come on then. Right, so here we are, we're standing on top of the Hoffman Kiln, or at least on the main surface, which would be actually the first floor, because you've got to imagine that the flume and everything else is actually on the ground floor, and we're now actually up on the next level. It's such a shame. I was sort of like, when I was sort of having a quick wander, so much glass on the floor, a lot of people have obviously been camping here. The whole area of where the brickworks used to be is littered with like camping spots. You can tell it's quite a popular place of people, and as you know, I've never complained about that, as long as they try to be respectful. And the thing that really gets me is when I see broken glass, because I think what people seem to forget is that they forget that nature's got to come through here. If a fox, if a badger walk through, they're going to cut their foot just as much as a human. And that could be the difference between them protecting their babies or anything else like that. And I really do think about that. And if I was here and I had a couple of people with me, I'd be there cleaning it up. But I just can't mind. I've not even got I haven't even got any gloves. Sorry, with me. But yeah, that's the only thing that really saddens me. But like I say, it's just more for the wildlife and the nature. But what a day I've picked today. There's graffiti again, you know, always up in the air about that. Be nice to sometimes, if they were going to do it, see some graffiti that was actually themed to the brickworks and to the kiln. That'd be nice to see. The rest of the brickworks, I just want to point this out. I was debating whether to film some extra bits, and I might do on the way as I head out. But on the way, like I said, there was lots of ditches, there was lots of infill. You could see where the quarry and everything else had been used. But there's really not much to see on that. And like I said, really, this is just to see where the kiln site itself was. And that's looking down where we came in. And there's our other, which I'm assuming is another kiln site. there, but it's obviously not a Hoffman one. But that's not surprising because it was labelled as having, obviously you heard it in the history lesson as well, that they did have it was a proper brickwork, so they had multitudes of different kilns that also handmade bricks as well. This was the last addition to that site. So pretty though, it really is. I'm looking up and I'm just so amazed that I can see all that. That steel roofing is such a beautiful thing to see. Look at them girders. Wow. Supports, I suppose, really. They're all still here on this side anyway. Interestingly, there's none on the opposite side. Wonder what that was about, why there was some on one and one on another. Well, some on one side and none on another. Sound like I come from up here. But me, like, when you walk down here, it's quite addictive to start talking like this. And then when you say, like, hey, where are you from? And I'm like, I'm from Kent, darling. They're like, oh no. Sorry, like, can't stop talking like this now. Sorry about that, anybody from local, like, don't mean to talk like this. Probably slightly wrong accent, but, you know, trying, isn't it? Yeah, love it. I absolutely love it here. Well worth the journey. What I think we should do is I'd really like to take you round again for another circuit whilst we're here, because you know it's probably going to be the only time that I'm ever going to come here, so I want to make the most of it, and yeah, I really want to just embrace it and enjoy it for what it is. So if you don't mind me taking you for another circuit around the kiln, that would be great. If not, just head towards the end of the video, but I think it'll be nice to go around. Come on. I'm hoping the torch is giving it bright enough. It looks like it is from the camera, giving it just enough. Wow, I just love the cornering. I love the absolute cornering of that beautiful design that you can see. It's just a work of art. I mean, this is the thing with these kilns, is that these Hoffman kilns, very, very productive, very efficient, like we spoke about in the history lesson. And just pretty, beautiful things. Littered with these rubble of bricks that are here. You can imagine them all stacked up, palleted. Really does take you back to a place of industry. Really does remind you of a different time. We don't see it anymore. These are genuine relics. Genuine relics of our time. There's so much glass on the floor. I'm so upset by that. If I'm being honest, it's not a nice thing to see. I hope that maybe any of you fellow explorers come down here next time, that you show just as much respect to a place like this. Look at that beam, and that just a thing of absolute beauty. I'm in love with this place. Really am. Look at the flickering of the light. Gives the illusion of looking like there's ghosts at the opposite end. Former workers. Wow, what a place. See this huge ditch here? That gives you an idea of the extra flume that was there. Let's try and... Do you know what? I'm going to risk it for a biscuit, everybody. Before my torch gives out. Hopefully not putting my hand on any glass. That'd be more important. Yeah, look at that. Wow. So as we look down, our heat in there. Can you imagine crawling through that? I mean, Your knees, well, my knees would be shot to pieces. But there's the inner heating there. Look at that. Circulating it. Just incredible. I'm glad I went down there. Oh, it's like it's tunnels within tunnels, layers within layers. Oh, so pretty. Absolutely in love with this place. If I was one of these places, I know if I was local, I'd be coming back here more often. There's a beautiful atmosphere here as well. I don't know whether it's because it's the morning. It's quite quiet. There's a sort of serenity to this place. You know, wasn't expecting that. That's the beauty of exploring, isn't it? You don't know what to expect. What's the point in expecting stuff? You're always going to be surprised no matter what, aren't you? There's a definite serenity here. Peaceful and tranquil nature. Where nature and time will slowly eat this place up. Right, let's head out. Come on. Bless my torch. It's been working very hard recently. So, I don't blame it for finally giving up the ghost. What I think we might do is just quickly walk around the side whilst we're here. Again, making very aware that it's probably the only time that I'm ever going to come here, so we might as well have a quick look round. So well camouflaged. In fact, actually, it's only the fence that gives it away. If this fence wasn't here, you wouldn't have any idea of this except for the roof. And then again, even then, that's in part. You can see how overgrown this is. Again, I don't really want to go too far because of how overgrown it is. Don't want to cause any more damage to nature. Simply beautiful though. Right. Let's head out. This way. This way. Right, so as mentioned, I just want to sort of highlight just a couple of things whilst we're here. I'm now heading back, but as I mentioned before, there is a lot of hidden industry here, and there's a couple of things I want to sort of briefly show you. All to do with the brickworks. It's just a treasure trove of hidden secrets. Look at that. For a collapsed remnants of the building, the Hoffman Kiln is down there. You can see the foundations of, I'm not going to lie, I don't know what this is because the layout of the map had changed, but I think it's important that we go down and investigate without falling over, hopefully. There we go. Ooh. So there's those big steel girders again. I think they're steel, could be iron. All around here there's little remnants of what this kiln site, the brickworks, was. And you can just, I know that in this video I'm not probably going to be able to show you everything, but this is just to give you a perspective of all the types of stuff that is here. Look at that. I wish I knew what building that was, but it's all of these bricks. It's quite weird. The moment you go off the path, for obvious reasons, there is a high potential chance that you will stumble or fall over some bricks, which I think you all knew anyway. Some more remnants here, look, just scattered about. Not sure if you can see these buildings here. There's one there. It's all part of the same one, it looks like. Again, totally collapsed. Let's try and get round if we can. Oh. I'm trying to do this in real time. There are little paths and everything that are here. Oh. Yeah. It was amazing. I was sort of thinking, do I do this now or do I film it when I'm on my way out? And felt like it would be better to film it on the way out as almost like a sort of icing on the cake moment to put the context of the brickworks and its remaining buildings or demolition of buildings that's here. And there's our Hoffman Kiln just there, literally. So you can see all these buildings hugging the Hoffman Kiln. Simply amazing. Right, well, I'm going to leave nature to do its thing and let's head out. Well, as I depart this amazing, magical place, thank you so much for coming along with me. Thank you so much for staying with me. And personal shout out to my torch for just about holding out before the battery died. It'll be my first priority when I get home, I'm sure, today. Well, hopefully you had a really nice time. You know, a little bit more about industry and the Hoffman Kilns. And that's so special, as I can hear the main road calling me for my next journey. So I will say, in the immortal words of Phoenix history, because history matters. And of course, I will see y'all very soon. Feel free to spread the word of the channel. Like, dislike if you want to. Totally up to you. But more importantly, if you really care passionately about this channel, feel free to spread the word. It really means a lot. And stay safe. Ready? Come on then. Kapow!